Well, hello again, everyone. Today we're going to do something a little different. This is the actual meal that we'll be eating. Move the camera over so you can see this right here, because he's just going to do dog stuff, whatever. Uh, so we have zucchini, we have onions, garlic, some mushrooms, and then some red and orange red bell peppers. Uh, Other than that, we're going to have some San Marzano tomatoes and some other stuff, but we'll get to that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut up these vegetables for roasting, and we're going to be roasting them at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. And then we're going to prepare them just because they're going to break down a little bit. So I'm just cutting off the ends this zucchini, and then I'm going to just cut it in half. Cut it in half, and then make kind of uniform cuts. I'm going to put it in a bowl, which I have right here. Just threw some of it in the floor, so, that's why we have dogs. Immediately get up and immediately on cleanup. He has the other two. I don't know where they are. They're probably sleeping somewhere. So I'm making this because a friend of mine, she's a vegetarian. So there's not going to be any meat in this. About 2 years ago, maybe a little less, maybe last year, for her birthday, because she's a vegetarian, I decided to make food for her and the other staff. So I made this dish, and to tell you the truth, I haven't made it with meat since. So basically what we're going to be doing is after we roast all this, we're going to put together a tomato sauce using San Marzano whole tomatoes, crushed San Marzano tomatoes, some tomato paste, and then herbs and spices to make a lasagna. Like I said, this whole thing will have no meat. The cheeses I'll be using is a Italian 6 cheese, a mozzarella, Parmesan, whole milk mozzarella that I'll be pulling and just using pieces of. Most of the rest of it will be shredded. So what I'm doing, I'm cutting off a little piece to make a stable base. And then I'm cutting these into kind of bite-sized pieces. As like I said, they're going to break down when cooking. For the bell pepper, I'm going to start just by cutting that core out. Break it with my thumb, pull it right out. And not throw it in the bowl that I'm currently putting stuff in, but in the actual trash bag. And I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to start. I'm going to cut off the top and the bottom. You see this membrane right here? I don't want that in it either. It's fine for the bottom. Cut this and cut. It's good. Same thing for this. Cut. I said that'll break down fine. Cut off the bottom. Cut off the top. Half and cut. Just dicing. So for this middle, I want to take the back of the knife, push down, and just cut. I don't want seeds in there either. It's going to make it too bitter adding those seeds. If a couple of them get in, it's no big deal. But, you know. So, just worrying about that. Turn it on its side and just it's gonna be one of those days. Same thing for this. I'm going to push down. Come push. Almost with a angling up. And then have to be very careful because this knife, the Shun, it's probably one of the sharpest knives we have. Cutting with it is very effortless, which means cutting through your fingers will be very effortless. So you can do the same thing I just did with this, or you can take from here and just cut straight down. Go to the other side and do the exact same thing. Cut straight down. And then take your knife and just pull open. And doing that, then you can just take out that core. Back, cut once across, and it's out. Again, I'm going to cut off the bottom, remove that white, remove the middle. As I said, I'm not being overly careful about the cuts. I just want them to be a general size because they will break down during the cooking, because I'm going to simmer this for a couple of hours after it's roasted, because I want a nice amalgamation of all the stuff where you can't like pick out everything that's in it or see everything that's in it. I just want it to be a nice, consistent lasagna filling. Alright, let's get to these onions. So best way for these is not to cut them sideways like we did with the hayashi rice in an earlier video. So I'm just going to cut the sides off. I'm going to cut it in half. Take that outside peel off. And then I'm going to cut, cut, cut. And almost the same thing, 4 cuts. And that's it. I'll show you the bowl here in a moment. I'll say 4 cuts. I meant 3. We have a new spectator. Here's the other one. The third one's around here somewhere. Sorry about the length of this one. Guess I could have just pre-did most of this and just shown you how I do one of each. But I'm not big on editing anything, you know. I guess it's just a personal pet peeve. When I see cooking, editing to me means lie. He's like, oh well, they're just taking out the bits people don't want to see. Yeah, well, I want to see the mess ups. I want to see the nonsense. Don't try to be perfect about anything, because you are not. I like seeing the struggles, you know. We all do that. Nobody in this world don't struggle. And if somebody says they don't, then they are lying. We are fallible beings. I know that's what you want on a Sunday afternoon, right? Just a moral conversation of human life and the fallibility of it. Sometimes you're going to hear some weird conversations. Okay. Garlic. Garlic's going to be a little messy. So basically, I'm just gonna take the skins off of this and chop it up in about 3 pieces. As I, throw it into the bag. So once I get done with doing all this, I'll get back to the preparation. So we'll be right back. Okay, finally finished dehusking some of that garlic. As you can see, some of it has some kind of bad spots, so I'm just going to kind of rip that out. Sorry for the cut, but that took me entirely too long. So I'm just going to chop this up into 3s. I mean, you could roast it in whole, but I just want, this is what I want to do today. Most of the time there is no rhyme or reason as to why I do the stuff I do during cooking, because that's part of cooking. You experiment. You wind up roasting a whole clove of garlic, and then you bite down into it when you're trying to eat. You're like, oh, that's a whole piece. But anyway, so that's what we got. Put that in our bowl. Yep, throw those away. So there's all of our trash. I'm just gonna scoot that, move the bowl in. So I'm going to take off one of these gloves. And we're going to do salt, pepper, Italian spices. And then on top of that, we're going to use olive oil. You could use a spoon, but I'm just going to use my hand, and with a turning motion, I'm just going to coat this stuff with the spices and oil. That's why I have the green gloves today, because we're doing vegetarian and it goes up higher. So once we have that pretty much the way we want it, we will get a pan. For me, I'm using a large cookie sheet with parchment paper, and then I'm just going to pour all of this, making sure that it's coated with the oil. And yes, this is going to make a lot. But that's why we freeze things, because once we make the sauce, we can put it in a you can freeze it in individual things for how much ever you think you'll need for spaghetti or other lasagna, or if you want to make a baked ziti or something else. But we just want that to be in a nice sheet. And then we're going to put this in the oven, like I said, 400 degrees for 30 minutes. So after that 30 minutes is done, I'll let you see what that looks like, and then we'll start building the tomato sauce. Till then. Okay. As you can see, our vegetables have been roasted. I have a big pot here. I've added 4 different things into it. I've had an Italian seasoning, a garlic Asiago seasoning that I had, which is here, just using the rest of it. This is a garlic Parmesan seasoning, and then just another Parmesan herb seasoning. On top of that, I have oregano and basil. I'm putting gloves on because of the San Marzano tomatoes. But first, let's go ahead and get so this is Cento crushed tomatoes. So that's what I'm using for that. And I'm also using just basic tomato sauce. Now, I'm going to stir this up. And since I got this stirred up a little, I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Just a little more pepper. All right. I'm going to add the oregano and basil. Alright, now we're going to start adding the vegetables. Well, we're just, like I said, this is the day. It's going to be drop stuff all over the place day. All over the place. So as I said before, I used onions, zucchini, red and orange bell peppers, and garlic. But you could use any kind of vegetables. It's not really overpowering as a vessel. You can use eggplant in this, potentially squash. That one I'm not sure about. So I'm going to go ahead and add this other can of tomato sauce. Okay, so now San Marzano tomatoes. So I have gloves on because with San Marzano, specifically Cinto, you will see there is leaves in it. It's because they just can them like that. I don't want leaves in my lasagna, so I will be pulling each tomato out and just squishing it. Partly because I do not want them whole, and I want them hand crushed, and also to look for those leaves. You're going to hear a lot of very lovely sounds with it. A big leaf right there. Once I've gotten all these squashed and everything, I'm going to put it on the eye, and I'm going to bring it to almost a boil. Simmer, and then I'm going to let it simmer for about 2 hours, give or take. I'm going to be checking it every 20 minutes or so, stirring it. And then after 2 hours, as long as the consistency looks right, I will throw in Parmesan, stir that up, and then it'll be ready to put together the lasagna. But I need it to cool down after that, so yeah, I will cook it for the 2 hours, pull it off, and then let it cool so it's workable. Sometimes with these San Marzanos, this part right here, where the vine is connected, can get kind of hard and doesn't want to break down. But once you get to the bottom and there's no more, you just want to kind of filter the rest of the sauce that's left through your hands, just to make sure you got all those leaves. All right, and we'll take that off. As we leave onions on the countertop. Now I'll clean that here in a second. But yep, I'm just going to kind of stir this around. So this is kind of already the consistency that I want. So I'll cook this with a top on it so I don't lose too much water. And then we'll be ready to make that lasagna. So I'll come back when I get done with that. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours. This is just some of the sauce that has been cooked. So all the vegetables and everything in here are very soft. I'm actually going to take this thing and I'm just going to do this because I want them to be chopped up some more. Remember, we're making a lasagna. I don't want giant chunks, but I do want some chunks. Give it a bit of a bite when you're eating. Okay. That looks better. So I am not using regular pasta sheets. I am using these sheets here. You don't have to boil them or anything. You can just place them and then cook. So what we're going to do is I want a little bit of just sauce. Normally what I do is just get another can of tomato sauce. Luckily I still got the thing out. So basically I've already sprayed this down. And then I'm putting this sauce on it. This is just going to help it not stick. So we're going to start with 3 of these. When I look at it, okay. So 3, 4. So I know each layer is going to have 4 noodles. I don't care about the size. That'll be fine. So we're going to do 1, 2 scoops. So you might see that this sauce is a little thin. I didn't want a really thick, chunky sauce because I'm kind of making a light lasagna. You also might wind up seeing a nose here or right there. It's because we're all hopped up because the house smells like roasted vegetables and garlic, and we just love that. I need to get another glove because I have to tear the mozzarella. So I'm going to push down on the mozzarella. Doing that to just spread it. Then I'm just going to tear pieces of it. Put it around. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to cover everything. We have other cheeses for just that occasion. Our 400-degree oven is ready, which we will cook for about an hour. Okay. And then I'm going to be using a Parmigiano Asiago. And then I think I'm going to use a 6-cheese Italian, and that's going to be it. All right, 1 layer down, and then I'm going to do the opposite. Sides first. middle. I'm going to take hands, push down, just pushing some of that air out. And then we just continue. So I'm alternating these noodles just so when it gets done and cools down and you go to cut it, it holds together better. Basically just giving it structure. For the last couple of years, I've been exclusively using these pasta sheets because I just get tired of having to boil them and then cool them off, wait for that to happen, and then, you know, it just takes time. But like I said, this lasagna is completely vegetarian. There's no meat products in it. I'm gonna add one more piece of this because it's the middle. Give us a little bit more of a chew. Okay. The same thing again. I'm going to wind up having to use a different cheese for the top because I'm not opening another thing of 6 cheese. So this time I'm actually going to layer it like this. And then put one more. And that'll be the end of our structuring the lasagna. And then we just take the rest of our mix. Add that little guy right there. Just spread it out. You can be Bob Ross, but in Italian lasagna. Just pull that out just a little. You might ask, how did I know how much stuff to use or pull out? So I'm basically, I am looking at 9 scoops with just this spoon. I've been making this stuff a long time, so the more you do it, the longer you do it, you'll get used to it, you'll understand. So we're going to finish up this with the rest of the mozzarella. Be like Laura, be nice and cheesy. Now she's huffing. She's over there huffing in the living room. I can hear her. She heard the nice and cheesy comment. Actually, she's huffing because I used her name. That's why. She hears the cheesy comments all the time. But she's like, you know, school and summertime cheesy. Not like Chester Cheetah cheesy. Some of you are probably too young to get that reference. So there used to be a Cheetos commercial. He would say it ain't easy being cheesy. Talk about how cool he was. Okay, so we're just going to use the mozzarella provolone to finish it off. Alright, and there we go. I will be baking this on a pan, just in case it wants to bubble over. And I will be baking it with aluminum foil over the top of it, because I do not want it to burn. I want it to get brown near the end. So after about an hour of cooking, I'll remove the aluminum foil and let it get a nice brown edge for the cheese. But that's it. As soon as it gets done, I will show you what that vegetarian lasagna looks like. Okay, our lasagna is done. Just gonna go around the edges to make sure it's not stuck. Once I've done that, decide on portions. Probably gonna do 9 portions, 2 rows, 3. So there and there. So now, just gonna work my way through it. Slide it. Now this is still hot, but it's kind of late at night. So, 9 portions, yes. And the amount of sauce that's left is a little ridiculous, just so you know. It feeds quite a lot. Let me show you what's left sauce-wise. This is how much is left sauce-wise. So, I'm gonna have to get a knife because the bottom piece doesn't feel like it's cut through. And just use a butter knife. All right. Really wants to hang on. Okay. There we go. I have a kind of a sneaking suspicion that I might have had it a little too far down in the oven. We may have burnt the bottom, But that's what it looks like. Let's get a fork and find out. Kind of looks like that's what happened. Because I don't recall putting bacon in the lasagna. Well, normally that does not happen. But if it's just the bottom, it doesn't matter. We might be making something else for dinner. Yeah. Mm. Oh, it still tastes fine. That bottom's just a little. I think it needed more sauce or not cook as long. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's still good. But that's the lasagna. Uh, Maybe don't have yours as low in the oven as mine, and your bottom will probably be fine. Or don't cook it for the hour and 5 minutes that I cooked it for. But hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.